Time flies, man. Time flies for us too. It's basically the end of the summer season for us. So um yeah, it's a lot of fun, but
Yeah,
got a lot of stuff planned. So
is it restricted to August though? Isn't it just when, the weather's nice and,
yeah,
warm? That's when
yeah, I would say
midsummer.
probably until like end of September at least, but Jimmy and I are going to Korea at the end of September. Um and so we basically have until the mid September timeline to really make good use of it, and then we have some things planned for when we come back that hopefully we'll be able to implement. So should be good. We got a lot of stuff in the works. Things are good for the most part. We're still we did our last pop up at Gongcha with Lala people, a ton of Lala people, but it didn't quite. We sold the most that we've ever sold, but we didn't sell out. We prepared about 150. We were close. I mean, we had about 150, probably sold about 135. But like it just gets us thinking, right? We were sitting out there for 4 hours. It's like there's no reason we should not be selling out. The amount of foot traffic was insane. Like Lala people, there's so many Lala people. I mean, it was nuts. Um, so it got us thinking. It's like first off, I think there's an element of time because 12 to 4 is a little bit difficult because most people you don't think of kimbap as like a snack. Like you have to eat it as a meal. And so usually that 12 to 2 rush is probably the best, and then 2 to 4 it really slows down. Um, and then it just gets us thinking about like we should be selling out regardless. I mean, in my opinion, it's like if something is really worth the hype and like if there's enough hype around it, then like people will come out and buy. It's not like it's an extraordinary amount of K-pop anyway.
Hmm.
So there's a couple things where like basically this weekend the team, so Jimmy, Margaret, and I basically just sat down and we're like, what is it that we're trying to do? Like, what is our goal? And like how what do we need to do to like make sure we adhere to it? I still remember a while back we talked about like you mentioned this thing about signal versus noise, right? And distractions. And there's a lot of distractions out there, especially with the social media thing. And I think I'm getting wrapped up in a little bit of those distractions of like all these ideas that I want to do and like all these cool collaborations that we could do. But at the end of the day, it's like I think our goal is still the same, is to serve corporate lunch, is to serve lunch for corporate people. And right now, the demographic that we're serving is anything but corporate lunch people. It's the weekend. It's like it's not corporate lunch people. And so we were thinking like, from a like a strategy perspective, like moving forward, obviously we can't just keep doing pop-ups forever. It's like, what is the next step for us? And there's a lot of things you can do, right? Like as an example, you can go into a food truck. You can do like a residency program. You can go into like a ghost kitchen. You could do delivery platforms with our current existing kitchen. Um, you could find a brick and mortar. There's like an amazing amount of decisions that you can do, but then I think the exercise we went through is just like, let's figure out what is that we want to do, what is our goal, and then eliminate all the distractions. Like just figure out the fastest way to get to that goal. And so right now, it's actually interesting. We're actually speaking with a few like cafeteria style food vendors. So like there's a few places, Paul, when you come here to Chicago, I'll show you. I'm sure you'll eventually go to them at some point, but there's like a collection of sort of places where they have a bunch of food vendors, and it's specifically for lunch during the weekdays. And like corporate people will go there all the time, and it's designated for corporate people, and it's very popular. Like it's popping. Like when I was at Bain, there's one called it used to be called Revival. It's now called Sterling Food Hall, but like we would order from there like basically every lunch because it's so simple. There's basically like 10 different vendors. Anybody could you basically just there's a group order. You can place whatever order you want from those 10 vendors. They will like the food this little Revival Food Hall would collect all the meals for you and package it, and then all you have to do is go pick up one bag and you can have everything you want. So it's like for us that'd be ideal if we could get that, because then it's like a nice little middle ground between having a brick and mortar, which we're not ready for, to be honest with you. We're not ready for it operationally. We're not ready for it from a financial perspective either, and we just don't think there's enough demand because we haven't been able to test the market that we think we need to be in. So yeah, so it's been good. Like we're getting better operationally. Like every single week we do it, it's a little bit less intense from a like a stress perspective of like, are we going to be able to finish on time? Can we deliver? It's like we know sort of what our capacity is and we know we can deliver. And like Jimmy and I actually are ending up like cranking out like if it's less than 50 or like even if it's close to 50, Jimmy and I can just do it by ourselves. And so we are at a point where like we can do most of it ourselves. If it's over 100, then usually we need our friends because we always need to hit a deadline.
Hmm.
But like we're pretty happy with like where things are going. We still need to improve quite a bit. Like this egg thing is like impossible to scale. But so yeah, so it's just a lot of decisions. Still not too happy with the fact that we didn't sell out on these pop-ups, especially with Lollapalooza. But we're introducing that pork belly flavor soon for this next pop-up, which will not be this week, but the week after, so next week. So hopefully we'll be able to sell out then, and we've got a lot of sort of media. I think our marketing is doing like for what it's worth, like is doing really well on Instagram, and I think, but the thing about marketing is like it has to convert to dollars, and in reality, food is a little bit different. Like restaurants are a little bit different in that marketing in that social media sense is not always a clear path to dollars. A lot of the times, it's like Google reviews, Yelp reviews, word of mouth, like that. That's usually the way to go, and not necessarily social media. But yeah, we'll just keep going, one thing at a time, and you just need to figure out what like basically just need to figure out who do we want to serve, who actually where's the market, and how do we best serve that market, right? And it might turn into like a later down the road, maybe we do like customizations, and so people can pick what they want, and we just roll it in front of them. I don't know, we don't know, but we're just keeping our options open. But I think we have an idea that like we want to serve corporate lunch people. That is our goal, and so. We're actually speaking with those like the food halls tomorrow and the day after. So hopefully those chats go well. Um, but yeah,
Yeah, no, I think those are some very valid thoughts that you're having since like I mean initially you mentioned about have being able to provide this during the lunch times at these, corporate uh environments. So
yeah.
hmm.
It'd be nice if we could test like for us, I don't really know what testing means because even for these pop-ups, like now that we've done them, like I think I talked about this last time, but we don't really know what proof of concept is, right? Like what is enough for us to be like, wow, this is so great. But in reality, if we're even thinking about that, that probably means the demand's not there, right? Like we should be so overwhelmed with demand that like that we have to move to the next step. I think, if you're taking a step back, like we're Jimmy and I especially are so deep in the weeds during the weekdays that like it's hard for us to set aside time. And so we set aside time yesterday to be like, okay, what is it that we're really looking for? Um, and so I think we just came to the conclusion that like we need to test like if the corporate lunch people actually want our food and like how do we make it so that we can really get ourselves out there. Um, so it's just a matter of trying.
Hmm. Yeah. I think there's definitely pros on like for the past, I guess, month and a half maybe or month with the different pop-ups you've been doing. I think those are some really great experiences. And now that you kind of talk about, okay, are we hitting really the market that you really want to? Do you have any thoughts on like what are some metrics you guys have been trying to refocus on? Although it's really hard to.
Yeah, I mean, I metrics at the end of the day for us is how, first off like sales. So top line, to us is really important, right?
Mm,
Because bottom line, for as much as it is important, like as long as we're not operating at a massive loss, it's not like we're going to be profitable anytime soon anyway, and
mm,
so it's not that big of a deal for us.
mm,
Um, Besides that, I mean, it's just a matter of like how much can we sell? Like we're not selling enough, right? As an example, I think this past weekend we probably made $2,000 in sales
mm,
over the course of two days, basically, because we had a like a separate order on like basically today. So this morning, Jimmy and I made some,
mhm,
but like that's not like ideally we do like $2,000 a day, at least, right? And I think I don't remember what I did the math, but it's like if you want to hit 1 million plus in sales, you have to be like at least at 3,000 per day, ideally more. And so, like that, we have to think a lot bigger, and we have to think about how we can scale. And right now, our operations, especially because of this dang egg, like the egg takes 2 minutes to make, at least. I think it's anywhere between 2 to 3
mm.
per hour. That means one person can make 30. If we're trying to hit $3,000 in sales, that means we have to make at least 300. So that means that we have to spend 10 hours. Like somebody has to spend 10 hours making eggs, and that's usually me. And so. Uh, it's things like that that's just like operationally, I think our food also it tastes it continues to take, in my opinion, get better and better. I think we're really nailing down some of the recipes, some of the seasoning. Um, like our spicy pork, I think the marinade is really good. It's getting more like it's like spot on now. Like the beef bulgogi, a lot of the times it's contingent upon the quality of the meat, unfortunately.
Hmm.
But things feel pretty good. Tuna's always been pretty good, just because tuna. Crab is also good. We're not really making changes there. The Spam one is okay. I think the veggie one is fine. We were not really looking to expand on those yet.
Hmm.
But then we're gonna do this pork belly. I think we're gonna do tonkatsu flavor. And then that will probably be it before we go to Korea.
Hmm.
And those will be our specialty rolls with probably upcharge pricing slightly, probably 13 or $14. We're not sure yet.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, so we have a bunch of stuff in mind, but like it's challenging. Like it's tough. The pace at which we're moving is good, but also
Hmm.
it's still slow because I still have basically I'm not available for,
Hmm.
40, 45 hours in a week.
Yeah.
So
Well, I'm curious. If you had to kind of use the example of being in a like a restaurant, like kind of like a restaurant setting. In a restaurant, there is, the chef who the team is kind of built around. There's the restaurateur. There's also like, I guess, people who invest in the restaurant. Like if in that kind of setting, like how would you position yourself or what's an ideal role within that environment for you?
I mean, at the beginning, I think I have to be all of those things,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
Yeah.
except for maybe investor, but right now we're bootstrapping, so I'm
Hmm.
probably on that too. I mean, ideally, I think what will naturally end up happening is I will probably manage the kitchen in front of like basically front end things like outreach and talking to people. Jimmy will probably handle a lot of the back end things. I think it's just naturally what we're good at. I will still probably be in the kitchen for a long time,
Yeah.
probably for years to come.
Hmm.
At some point, though, what we'll transition into is not necessarily a chef taking over, but probably a general manager, because the recipes and things like that will be systemized. And
Hmm.
so
Hmm.
it's not like they need to know how to cook. It's they need to know how to follow a recipe.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so it'll probably be systemized. And then at that point, hopefully we'll be able to hire a general manager, and then we'll be able
Mhm.
to focus on more businessy things of like how do we open a second one? Where do we open it? Where do we get funding for that and things like that.
Yeah, cool. I mean, the reason why I asked wasn't really based off of like your current business, but more like where you want to shine. Like, you have your kind of skill sets and your strengths. And as you mentioned, with the team that you have, of course, everyone has to probably do two or three or maybe four roles at the same time. But I was just curious, like what you felt like you were best at, and if you had the luxury of allocating to the different roles, like where you would really feel comfortable or thrive in, and that's why I asked. Yeah, because as I was kind of listening today, what I felt like was you seem to have a lot of things going in your head, which is very natural, right? Like you talk about like recipes, having like I guess I remember last time we talked, you talked about how now you're gonna have the OG menus, but then you're gonna have these rotating new menus that you go on with these different pop-ups. But then you also mentioned about like, oh, do we want to? But at the end of the day, like your vision is to be able to provide these to corporate people. But right now, we're not really hitting that target audience. Um, so yeah, no, I was just kind of thinking about that, and I just recently kind of came across this guy from NYU Stern. I think he's a professor there, and he really talks about like stages of businesses and what to focus on each stage.
Mhm.
I was wondering, yeah, if that might help, and I'll probably send you that link
Yeah. Yeah,
afterwards.
by the way, yeah,
Yeah,
I'll take a look at it right now.
yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it's interesting because I was with some friends, including Margaret, who does all of our marketing and social media and outreach. And I basically there's been a thought in my head recently of like there's actually a few Korean like businesses that are trying to start up. As an example, there's actually a barbecue, like just a regular American barbecue, that someone is trying to put a Korean twist on, and it's like these brothers that are trying to do it. They're super nice. there's a guy who does specifically pop-ups here. He's like a chef with a culinary background, and like he does a lot of pop-ups
Mm.
here as well. There's also a guy that I know that works with me at Mr. Tiger that is looking to open up like a drink, like a bar, like a Korean
Oh,
style bar,
yeah.
with like very like sort of like classy like cocktails, right? Like
Hmm.
based on very like as an example, he has like a sweet potato and kimchi one, and it's like I tasted the other day. I was like, well, it's pretty nice.
Hmm.
Like there's a lot of places that are popping up that are trying, right? And it's not Korean. Like I hope people don't like it's not Korean, right? It's like
Hmm.
Korean. But it's more based on the identity of who we are. It's like it's all Korean American, and um they've been popping up pretty recently. Like I would say like we are among that wave. Mr. Tiger is probably one of the first, and then we are now joining in on that, and then now we see a couple other things pop up. But I was like, it would be amazing if at some point soon we could do like a Korea event, like a Korean pop-up event, right? Where we showcase all of these people that are trying to do something, especially in downtown. Um, and I was like, I could probably do that. Like I could probably organize something. I have enough sort of relationships now where I could probably start something and like try to get something done, not at a massive scale, but like on a micro scale, and then I could learn from it and then do it again. And I was like, and then it goes back to the question of like, what am I good at, right? Because like at the end of the day, like what we decided yesterday as a business is we need to find something that's scalable, right? We want a business, right? But like I don't like for me, what I'm good at is I think I'm good at connecting, I'm good at communicating, I'm good at sort of leading people together and like making like something happen. And then I'm like these events, like I could probably do a really good job, and like it's going to be a lot of work, but like I'm probably good at that, right? So then it becomes a question of like, do I do what I think I'm good at, or like do I sort of brute force my way into something that isn't? Because like in my mind, in order for us to be really scalable, we would probably have to take on backing from like investor groups, right? Like private equity or like hedge fund. Like we would have to take on serious equity and then just expand like crazy, and like it would become very
Hmm.
non-relationship it would become very transactional of like we just open another one and then figure out how to make it work, and it becomes very corporate again. But I was like, I don't know if I'm good at like and like to be fair, it's so early to tell. But like I just got to thinking of like what am I good at? And like already right off the bat, like I as soon as I quit my job, I'm like I'm still really good at these things. And like I can really make something happen. So this Korea event thing is on my mind. I don't really know yet if I have enough energy to do it right now. And then to me now I'm like, okay, that seems like another distraction. But then actually Jimmy and Margaret actually really like the idea because they're like, it could actually get our name out there. Like if you do an event like that, you can get our name out there, and then it becomes like a step in the journey rather than it being like a complete side thing. Um, so I don't know. And at this point it is a little bit late in the season, so I don't really know if I want to do it for this year. It would have to be in like October or something. But like I don't know. It's just, I think to your point about strengths, I think when you run a business, I think you start to find out what your real strengths are. Um, and like I think Jimmy definitely has a lot of strengths in sort of the finance side of things and like managing the legal and like sort of the intricate details of like what can we do versus what can we not do. Um, whereas like I'm very much like I like to work, like physically work, and so I like to move fast and like do things, and
Hmm.
so yeah.
No, yeah. No, I think, yeah, it's like I feel the more, in a way, I don't know what else the word to use, but like the more talented you are in very different, various ways, it's like harder to actually even choose what you're really good at. And it's actually a dilemma, by the way. Just gonna shift my computer so I can charge, but
The dilemma for you, Paul. I don't think for me. I just live my life, man.
no, it's a new start. You
Yeah.
didn't quit your life. You moved on to a better, more important stage.
Yeah.
But no, I think, especially since like last week we weren't able to talk, so well, due to my schedule. But what I'm realizing is that I don't want to say it lightly, since like I'm not the one doing the work and I'm not the business owner. Um, and especially because like I find myself doing that as well when it's like my thing. I get so invested in it
Mm.
that like sometimes I can't think clearly.
Yeah.
And I agree with you in ways that I think I see myself always kind of thinking that, okay, like what else can I do to improve this? Should we try this? Should we try this? I think exploring like different methods or different ideas is really important, but also I'm wondering like if there should be a larger focus as well. Like because for example, like targeting audience and also like doing uh different menus, I feel like are two different things.
Mhm.
Like I don't know if you are able to, well, yeah. I wonder, like, especially in like the food scene, I don't know how it works, but what is your thoughts? Because since you can't do everything, right? So if you're, and and I, I worry that like if you're trying to do like, do this and do this and do this at the same time, what if you like lose like people in like all different areas and never really find that fit?
Yeah. I mean, it's a good question. I mean, it's a very fair question. I think so. There's a couple of trains of thought. Is one is our intention was always that the classics would never change, and
Hmm.
so even now, I think we're happy enough with the classics that like we don't
Hmm.
feel the need to change them.
Hmm.
When we think about going to these like new markets, I'm gonna call them markets, or not, but like new customers, in reality, we're gonna serve them the classics. Like these pork belly ones isn't necessarily gonna like this pork belly one, this Dokatsu one is probably not gonna be on the menu. Like it's literally gonna be for the pop-ups.
Hmm.
I think for the term that we're gonna do the pop-ups until probably the mid-September timeline,
Hmm.
I want these pop-ups to succeed.
Yeah.
Like to me, I'm still confused as to like why. I'm not confused. I think I know why, but like we should not be not selling out. Like in my mind, like there's and theoretically, I guess if we made 100 rolls instead of 150, we would have sold out. But then to me, that doesn't make any sense. Like we now know that like demand meets supply, and like theoretically, selling out is not necessarily the goal, right? Selling out, coming as close to selling out is realistically the goal. It means you are supplying as much as there is demand.
Yeah.
Um,
Why is selling out so important to you? At this current moment for you.
yeah, I mean, because to me, selling out is proof of demand, is proof that our concept is good enough. At a standalone, there's enough hype
Mm.
around food or us that
Hmm.
people are willing to make the trip out to actually eat it, right? Like as an
Right.
example, there's a lot of other successful, I'm going to call them successful, but like other businesses here, especially in the Filipino community,
Mm.
that also did this sort of similar route. And like they sold out every single time incredibly fast. Like they have a full community behind them. Like, the demand there was crazy. And as another example, it's like this Dave's Hot Chicken. I
Hmm.
listened to this podcast. It was one of my favorite podcasts of like how I built this by Gary Raz. But they came on the show and they were like they used to sell out of a parking lot, right? But then demand picked up so much that like they couldn't physically handle the amount of people that they were getting. Right? It's like to me that if that happens to us, where like we have so many people coming that we just can't handle it,
Mm.
that is demand. Then you move on to the next stage because you are forced to because you know it's going to work. Right now, I'm scared that like we can't move on to the next stage because there's not enough demand. Like it's either that or we're not doing the right thing marketing wise, or we're not in the same location, we're not in the right time. Like there's a lot of reasons as to why it's not selling out in
Mm.
realistic terms, but
Hmm.
I don't know. I think that's where my head is at. And so selling out is important because of the fact that like if we sit outside for 4 hours and like our Instagram is doing really well and like people know about us and like why aren't we selling out? Like
Hmm.
and we sold out that first time when we did the first pop-up because we did like probably closer to 100 rolls, probably slightly less than 100 rolls, right? So it's like it's no wonder we sold out in an hour and a half. Theoretically, I guess we would have sold out anyway if we did more. But like there, we sold out in an hour and a half. We were originally scheduled for 11 to 3, but like we sold out at like 12:30. Granted, the next week at side practice, I know we made a reel about it, but like in reality, we were not that concerned because it rained so much. Like the weather was really bad, and so we weren't that concerned. But we just needed to make a story out of it so that we could post something. But
Hmm.
um, But even at side practice, we were close. Even with the rain, we were close to selling out. We just didn't sell out of the tuna and crab. We had probably a little bit, we probably had like 20 left total. But then see, for me, this last one of Lollapalooza happening, and like to me, this one was like, okay, we're gonna prepare a 150, which we did. And I was like, we're gonna sell out ASAP. Like to me, there was just no reason because there's the amount of foot traffic there was insane. Like I've never seen that street so busy with people. Um, and so I think to me that was a testament of like I think we are not onto something that is gonna just blow up.
Hmm.
So then it becomes a question of also like I said, I think we just need to try more things, right? Like we need to see if the corporate lunch people even want our food, right? And that probably means like as an example, if we go on third-party delivery platforms, no one's gonna know who we are. Because in reality, as great as our social media is growing, we're not that big yet. We don't have a brand. We don't have any, we our presence is too small. And so what that means is we have to go out and what I'm planning to do is make little postcards and like literally hand them out to people in downtown Loop. But like you have to do stuff like that to be get on the radar somehow, right? And then at that point it will take time. And like we know things will take time. Um, but it also becomes a matter of like how many times do you have to try something to realize you have to change something, right?
Yeah. I do want to say, hmm. I mean, Lollapalooza, I'm guessing it's like a one-time thing though, right?
Mhm.
Like it's not a repeated data. So I feel there
No.
might be some big, um, I guess, insights you're making from one data point.
Well, I mean, it's true. I guess my point is like Lollapalooza was on top of this pop-up, right? Like this pop-up in and of itself, like it was probably the most liked post that we had in it on Instagram to date.
Oh,
And like Gongcha, like their official account, like put us
yeah,
on.
that's crazy. Yeah,
Yeah, and
which is
like
huge.
yeah, and like and then the people like we did our own marketing, right? So like so we so this pop-up was on top of Lollapalooza. So like to me, if we didn't have Lollapalooza, we probably wouldn't have sold as much anyway, right? So like
Hmm.
that's even more concerning.
Do, do you think it's, have you guys talked about pricing?
We haven't really. And the reason for that is because we can't really lower our prices any
Yeah,
further.
yeah,
Um, we could, but
yeah.
there's sort of competitors out there that are doing similar prices to what we're doing.
Hmm.
And so to lower it any further would just become
Hmm.
sort of not a smart decision on our end, I think.
Hmm. Yeah. Oh, hmm.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. I think that that's where like I think depending on like different businesses and different people, different individuals, their strategies may be different. And um yeah, I mean at Lollapalooza I feel also like a lot of people spent a lot of money to go there. So like maybe, those could be taken into account. Maybe it's the demographic.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
maybe
but like
they're,
yeah.
I don't know, they're not like they're too happy to be concerning about new foods that they're not familiar with. I don't know.
Yeah,
There's
I mean,
so
but
many.
so like the bottom line is like if the demand was good enough, we would sell out anyway, right?
Hmm.
All of these data points at the end of the day are excuses as to why it's not working.
Mm-mm.
They could be very valid excuses, right? But that's not how business works, right? Like it does, like if the demand was really really good,
Mm-hmm.
like those guys that sold fried chicken in a parking lot, like you could argue that like oh it's not accessible or like hey like this and that and like maybe weather was bad. They probably still sold out. Why? Because the demand is high enough. Maybe it's certainly less than what they would have done otherwise, but like it's not like we're making a grand amount of food and like it's just to me I'm like we made like 50 more rolls than we did last time, which is granted it's like 30% more, but I'm still confused. Like we're there for the full 4 hours, right? And weather is perfect. Like what like you can't complain about that weather. Like it was perfect. It was sunny. It was breezy. It was not hot at all. So I mean I understand like we I'm not our team is not that concerned about it, right? Like we're
Mm-hmm.
not like oh this is a huge emergency like red flag we need to change some stuff, but. I think we were originally planning to do new roles anyway, because like the classic roles are good, but like for me too, there's some things I want to try that like I think would taste just as good, if not better.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more exciting to make. Uh, so like it's a part of the that's a part of the plan, the specialty roles.
Mm,
I think the demand piece is a little bit more like how we have some things that we need to figure out. I think because to me like there's no and there's an element of like I was talking with a like a mentor figure of mine, and he was like, when you open up brick and mortar, having one or two is easy in the sense of you can will it to succeed. Like he was basically giving an example of he franchises a bunch of restaurants, and he was like one of his franchisees does like 60 to 70,000 dollars in sales a month just through catering. And so then they're like, how do you do it? And the dude literally he goes door for businesses, and like he hands out cards and says, hey, if you guys have like a holiday party, we'll cater. He just puts in the work of like he just goes everywhere, right? He like knocks on people's doors. It's like you have to sort of brute force yourself, and then if you do that, you will be able to succeed, right? You'll be able to get where you need. So from his perspective, it's like well, if you once you open one or two stores, you can do more, right? To basically sell.
no,
And so I was like, oh, he's right. Like basically Jimmy and I are sitting there for 4 hours. We're not doing anything. We're just expecting people to come to us and just like, and so, towards the end, we actually started giving out samples and stuff, and people really liked that. And like, I was like, at some point, I was like, maybe I should go down to the main street where people enter Lollapalooza and just be like, listen, you guys, you should like try our kimbap. Like we were selling it right there. Like, there's a lot of things that we could have done, in my opinion, that could have resulted us in selling. Um, but it still to me is just like it's not good enough, I think.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Since you talked about like free samples, I don't know if I told you this, but I recently came across this. I think I forgot. Maybe it was an interview or like a documentary or something, or like a YouTube, whatever it was. But this guy has an ice cream shop, and the way he gives the free samples is really interesting. Did I tell you about the ice cream shop? It was basically, let's say like you go to an ice cream shop, um, and you could taste the different ice creams, right?
Yeah,
And basically what he does is, oh, like I'll tell you, hey, I'll get the chocolate, please. Then he'll scoop the chocolate. But then you know how you need a spoon to eat. He'll scoop
yeah.
like a strawberry,
A
and
different
then just
flavor put
yeah,
on
and
top.
then just put it on top.
Yeah.
I mean, if people are there just to buy a chicken, maybe you have like a slice or two of your kimbap, and
Yeah.
you give it
Yeah.
in front of them. While like if they only buy the chicken, you could still be like, hey, like this is one kimbap, put it
Yeah.
on
And we
there, and
actually did it with different flavors too. So if people
yeah,
got the one, then we were like, try the spicy pork and then see what you think.
yeah, yeah,
Um, but free samples definitely is good. Like it doesn't always result in sales necessarily, but like I think there was a couple people that bought it and they were like, oh, it's pretty good. Like let me have it. And so
yeah.
I mean, yeah, but these are all ways to be, successful somehow, right? It's like at the end, I will say we did the most amount of sales this weekend than we have in the past, so it's good. I think in my head though, I'm just not satisfied, right? I think there is somewhere that I think there is opportunity somewhere. We just have to find a way to get there.
Mm,
What that means is we just have to just try stuff and figure out and granted we have to try stuff for a while. It's not like you just try it once and then just if it doesn't work, right? So
mm,
as an example, we have like probably five more pop-ups in the next few weeks. Like it's not like we're gonna just
mm,
kapoof. We're also still gonna sell our classic rolls. Like it's
yeah.
not, these aren't gonna disappear anywhere.
Yeah. And also just realized that I think I had an interesting conversation where I think I was like talking oh yeah, because like I feel like I have, luckily for me growing up, since I lived abroad and like moved around places, I feel like I was fortunate enough to experience different cuisines or like different styles of cooking. And I was like talking with my friend at USC, and he was basically saying, "Oh, like, yeah, before I went to that restaurant, I've never tried octopus before." And I was
Mm.
like, "What? Like, you haven't
Yeah.
tried octopus till like
Yeah.
what, like 23 years old in in life?" I'm like, "Wow, like I mean, he went to USC, I mean, somehow, and he lives in Palo Alto. Like, I
Yeah.
thought, you guys there are okay too, like, whatever." But
Yeah.
I was like, "Wow, like." And the point being is like when we talk about food, I think a lot of people also talk about like past experiences or they compare something with something. So for example, if I like this pasta, or I like it because it's better than the ones I had before, or they need some kind of, comparison
Mm-hmm.
to see like, oh, if this is a good quality, is it worth it or not? And I feel since like if you did kimbap in Korea, I feel people have a reference to like what's a good kimbap, what's a good price, and things
Hmm.
like that.
Hmm.
But in the States, what your team's vision is that like you're introducing this culture
Yep.
well, although you're targeting these specific people with this, flavor profile, but in like the macro thing, and the macro level, like it's really you starting from the ground up. Like you're really creating a
It's-
culture, creating a community. And for some people, it even might be something very new to them,
Yeah.
very yeah, like unique that like they don't even have a reference whether this is like, oh, like is it like the term whether comes out if it's, comparable,
Yeah.
you know.
No, that's
So
exactly right.
so I feel like, it's probably much more harder for your team
Yeah.
because it's really that groundwork you guys are doing right now in
Yeah,
Chicago.
I mean, that's exactly right because actually probably more than half the people that come, we have to explain them what it is, and what it is. And I mean, our kimbap, even people who are familiar with kimbap, is like ours doesn't look that traditional, right? It
Yeah.
doesn't look traditional, although it tastes pretty much the same. But so we do have to do a lot of explaining. You're right. Like if we did fried chicken, no one would be confused as to what we're doing, right? And then it becomes a lot easier. And then you put Korean in front of it, and then people would probably be ready to do it
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah.
At least the demographic here would be.
Hmm.
Uh, so yeah, I mean, there's definitely an element of that. I think thanks to at least the Trader Joe's, like the frozen kimbap and stuff like that, it's a little bit less burdensome. There's like a almost like a proof point that this could work here, right? Um, but yeah, it's just a matter of like we are fighting for awareness of what our food is and also that our food is good, right? It's like it's both, right? And if you like you said, if they don't have a reference point, they're not going to know it's good. So it basically means that we have to rely on the fact that we think our food just tastes good objectively, and then they will eat it objectively. Um, so
It,
yeah, it is an uphill battle.
yeah. Yeah. Is it crazy to say, I remember this coffee shop in New York or somewhere. I don't know if I don't know if I'm referencing the right coffee shop, but it's like maybe Blank Street, but I don't know. It might be some other coffee shop. I remember like there's been a lot of marketing strategies where they utilize like a company and they say that they're better than them and use that as a marketing way.
Yeah,
And maybe you could be like, hey, Trader Joe's. We're better than Trader Joe's, and I don't know, maybe legal stuff. I don't know, but like maybe things
yeah,
like that, and compare yourselves. That might be a cool way. Then people at least know, like, oh, Trader Joe's has kimbap.
yeah,
Maybe I've tried that. Maybe I tried this, or I don't know. Maybe Trader Joe's reaches out to you to make those kimbap for them. You
yeah.
never know, right? Because their whole Trader Joe's model is finding what's really good,
Hmm.
go to that supplier, basically get the recipe, pay them, and then they just bring it in and brand it as their own. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, no, I think it's a definitely a difficult like culinary experience that you're really trying to make a foundation in Chicago. So,
Hmm.
uh, I think marketing's pretty huge, and yeah, especially like for me, I think. Every time we have these calls, it's just amazing how like focused, laser focused you are on like the product, the taste of the kimbap. So I think a lot of people lose sight of that as they go. Like they always try to catch on to like, okay, like how can we increase what? And then they kind of lack on the foundational stuff. But even till now, since I don't know how long we've been doing this, but every week the most used word is probably quality and like taste. So
Yeah.
I'm just happy to see that.
Yeah, and I think that'll always be the goal. I think there's always going to be other focuses, but like if your food doesn't taste good, it's like you're not going anywhere. So
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, there's also like we kind of talked a lot about like your kind of thoughts and decisions that you're thinking of making in the future, but there's a lot of wins. Like Gongcha's huge.
yeah,
Like
Yeah.
That's a huge win. Pop-ups are good. Being able to like, be in those situations and connections, those are all honestly like built upon huge wins. So yeah, that's some really great signs. And
Yeah. I also, yeah, our team probably from not from we should do a better job, but like we are definitely going in a great direction. I think objectively, if we were not the ones that were doing this and we are sleep deprived half the time and the other half time working, I think we would sit back and go, wow, we're doing really great things. And even the other businesses that are trying to start up, they're looking to us and they're like, wow, you're doing great things. Like we'd love to talk to you about like how you're doing stuff and like less about Instagram. And I'm like, guys, like we don't we just try stuff. Like we don't we think we try we like have an idea, we think it's gonna work, and then we just try it and see if it does or not. And like I think we happen to get lucky a couple times, and we definitely put in the work to be able to get lucky, and we're just continuing to do the same thing. But yeah, I mean for sure, like Jimmy and I actually were talking the other day about like it's crazy how far we've come operationally, right? Like we literally used to hand cut carrots. We used to julienne the carrots by hand. Then we bought a cheap Amazon, like, and we're actually going to post a reel about this later. But then we bought an Amazon like hand chopper. But like Jimmy would have to like chop like 10 pounds of carrots like by hand, and then he'd be like, "Why am I doing this?" Because and then we got like a $60 re-upgraded to a $60 one on Amazon, which was great. We used that for a while, and then now we're using this huge commercial one that like does it in 10 seconds, and it's crazy how far we've come. We definitely will take some time. We actually have our first like team dinner in about
okay.
a week, where we're gonna go grab dinner and some drinks and just talk about how things have been, and we'll celebrate there. And even the marketing side of things, I think has been incredible, and Margaret has been doing an incredible job with all the things. She actually had the idea for the giveaway, which has gotten incredible engagement. And our follower count, which is not always the most important thing, but like our follower count is increasing every single day. Like it has not stopped growing. Like we don't have anything to complain about. But I think the nature of business, right, is that if you're not growing, then you're always dying, right? So you have to always look to the next thing. You can't get complacent. The moment you think you get good at something is when you have to take on the next leap of like, how do I make this better, or like how do I do more of it?
Gosh.
Um, and it's stressful and it's hard, but like I think that's what makes it, that's what makes it hard. Like that's why we do what we do, right? It's like if you wanted to have a complacent life, then you could, I don't know, do other things in life, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well said.
But yeah, we just keep going. I think we have this week is actually kind of light for us. We have a catering order on Saturday, but it's only about 65, so we'll probably give the team a break. And then the next week is really big for us. The next week is when we're going to launch that pork belly one, and then we'll do a couple of our heavy hitters from our classics, and then the chicken as well. And then we are going to sell out.
Yes,
We're
it will.
determined to sell out.
Oh, well, looking forward to the new taste as well. And yeah, no, seems like it's been a great few weeks. And yeah, we'll catch you next week as well.
Good
Excited
ball.
for the new news as well.
Sounds good. Sounds good. We'll see you next week.
See you next week.